Right now, you feel completely still. Your chair feels still. Your room feels still. The floor under your feet feels like the safest, most solid thing in your life. But that is an illusion. Near the equator, Earth is carrying you sideways at over 1,000 miles per hour. That is faster than the speed of sound, and you do not feel it for one simple reason. Everything around you is moving with you. The floor, the air, the oceans, your house, your body, the clouds above you. All of it is spinning together. So your brain calls it stillness. But now imagine this. For one single second, the solid Earth stops spinning. Not forever, just 1 second. But the ground stops. You do not. The air does not. The oceans do not. Everything that was moving with the old spinning Earth keeps its momentum. And that 1 second becomes one of the most violent moments in human history. Because the real horror is not that Earth stops. The real horror is that when it does, you keep going.
Think of a moving walkway at an airport. When you, your bag, and the walkway move together, it feels normal. But if the walkway suddenly stops and your body keeps moving forward, stillness becomes impact. Now, scale that up to a planet. Near the equator, your body would still be moving at about 465 meters per second. In 1 second, that is roughly the length of 4 football fields. But you would never calmly travel that distance. A wall would stop you. A window would stop you. A car, a building, or the street would stop you. This would not feel like being pushed. It would feel like a planet-sized car crash. Your phone would not stay on the desk. Your cup would not wait for gravity to explain the situation. Your chair, lamp, shelves, glass, and books would all keep moving sideways. A peaceful room would turn into a storm of projectiles. And the damage would not come from flying. The damage would come from stopping too fast. The ground stops. You keep going. Physics collects the difference. Now, zoom out. Your city has the same problem as your room. Buildings are attached to the ground, yes, but their mass still has inertia. They were built for gravity. They were built for wind. Some were built for earthquakes. But they were not built for the entire planet to suddenly change speed underneath them. Towers would twist. Bridges would fail at their joints. Windows would explode. Pipes would snap. Power lines would fall. Cars, buses, signs, glass, rooftops, steel, and concrete would become debris moving sideways through the city. A city is not just concrete. A city is synchronized motion. Roads, hospitals, elevators, water systems, power grids, and communication networks all assume the world underneath them is stable. For 1 second, that assumption dies. And the buildings are not even the worst part. The air is moving too. Right now, you are not standing in 1,000-mile-per-hour wind because the atmosphere rotates with Earth. The air is part of the same moving system. That is why the room around you feels calm. But if the crust stopped and the atmosphere kept moving, the sky would suddenly become a sideways blast. Near the equator, that wind could be supersonic. The speed of sound is about 343 meters per second. Earth's equatorial rotation is faster than that. This is not a normal storm. A hurricane is weather. This is old planetary momentum sweeping over a stopped surface. Roofs vanish. Forests are stripped. Weak buildings are shredded, and debris turns the wind into something worse. A sign becomes a blade. A window becomes shrapnel. A rooftop becomes a flying wall. Cities would begin manufacturing ammunition out of themselves. Emergency response would collapse almost instantly. Hospitals need power, roads, elevators, oxygen, clean water, communication, buildings that still work. All of those systems depend on one thing: a predictable physical world. For 1 second, that world stops being predictable. But air is light. Water is not. So now we have to talk about the oceans. The oceans have the same momentum problem as the atmosphere, except the moving material is unimaginably heavier. The ocean would not magically teleport across the planet in 1 second. That is cartoon physics. But 1 second is absolutely enough to begin disaster. Harbors become traps. Ships smash into docks. Ports become impact zones. Low-lying coasts are hit by moving water that still remembers the old spinning earth. And when extreme wind pushes broken water across broken cities, the atmosphere and oceans stop being separate threats. They become one moving system. The same rule that throws a coffee mug across your room now throws water against land. Different scale, same physics. At this point, people usually ask 3 questions. Would gravity turn off? No. Gravity comes from Earth's mass, not from Earth's rotation. You would not fly into space. Would Earth instantly become a perfect sphere? No. Earth does bulge slightly at the equator because it spins, but reshaping oceans and crust takes time. Would the magnetic field instantly disappear? Also no. Earth's magnetic field comes from motion deep inside the liquid outer core. Rotation matters, but the magnetic field is not a light switch. The immediate killer is much simpler. Momentum. Invisible, ordinary, everyday momentum. The kind that has been carrying you your entire life. And then comes the cruelest part. The second ends. Earth starts spinning again. If anything somehow survived the first stop, now the ground accelerates back under a world already full of wind, water, debris, damaged buildings, and broken infrastructure. The stop is the first hit. The restart is the second. That is why just 1 second is so deadly. It is not a pause. It is a break in agreement. Your world does not feel safe because it is motionless. It feels safe because everything is moving together. But what if Earth stopped and stayed stopped? Then the first disaster would be immediate. The impact, the wind, the ocean surge, the collapse of civilization. But after that, the planet would become almost unrecognizable. The normal 24-hour day would vanish. The rhythm of morning, afternoon, evening, and night would break. One side of the planet would face long periods of brutal sunlight. The other would face long darkness and freezing cold. Weather would reorganize. Ocean circulation would change. Agriculture would collapse. Life on Earth is not built only around sunlight. It is built around regularity. Take away the daily rhythm, and you do not just lose a clock. You lose one of the operating systems of life. And that is the strange beauty hidden inside this nightmare. A flying coffee mug and a moving ocean are not different stories. They are the same story at different scales. Your room, your city, the air, the sea, and the planet all depend on one invisible agreement. shared motion. You were never truly standing still. You were only standing still together. Every quiet room is a truce between your body and a planet moving faster than your instincts can feel. Every peaceful morning happens on top of invisible speed. So the next time someone tells you to sit still, remember this. You are spinning with Earth at over 1,000 miles per hour near the equator. You are moving with the air. You are moving with the oceans. You are moving with your city, your room, your floor, and every breath you take. And the reason it does not feel terrifying is not because the world is still. It is because the motion is perfectly shared. 1 second of stopped rotation would be catastrophic. But the deeper truth is even stranger. Your ordinary life is balanced on invisible momentum all the time. So what scares you more? The sideways crash? The atmosphere turning into a wall of wind? The ocean surge? Or the second punch when Earth starts spinning again? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to know what would happen if the sun disappeared, that video is right here.